Hi, everyone. Welcome again to the EFL Magazine Business Podcast. This is episode 7. Today's guest is Ai Haori. Ai is the founder of Sunny Bunny Language Education Incorporated and the Sunny Bunny Method. She has been an English teacher, an educational curriculum creator, author, teacher trainer, and she's also a chairperson of a non-profit organization, EEYC, English Education for Young Children. I had a great time talking to Ai, some great tips and takeaways. I hope you enjoy the program.
Hey everyone, buckle up for a new episode of the EFL Magazine Business Podcast, the one and only podcast made to help you launch your business or take your existing business to a level of success you could never have imagined. Whether you're a school owner, freelancer, publisher, or other entrepreneur, you're sure to pick up lots of actionable advice when you listen to the EFL Magazine Business Podcast. Remember to visit eflmagazine.com for great articles and features. Without further ado, here's your host, the founder of EFL Magazine, Philip Pound.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to the EFL Magazine Business Podcast. Today, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Ai Haori-san. She's based here in Tokyo, and she runs Sunny Bunny English School. And there's a lot more I have to find out about Ai, and I'm sure she'll give you some great information that you can work on and listen to and use in your business. So, Ai, good
Hi.
afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. And tell me what you've been doing today. How has your day been so far?
I tried Instagram Live today for the very first time for my life.
I see. And do you have many followers on Instagram?
Not really yet, but
Okay.
I'm hoping to.
And it's related to your school. You're not selling some kind of jewelry or lifestyle business, or
It's related to my business. I was answering the questions that mothers always have.
okay. So a lot of people think, the age profile of Instagram is a little bit younger, isn't it? Maybe early 20s, and maybe Facebook is more, I know, older, maybe kind of more mothers. Is that your experience, or how do you?
That's what people told me. That's why I started Instagram recently.
And tell me about using social media presence. You can tell me about followers and all this, but do you get business? How do you promote what you do? What kind of, what kind of return do you get on it?
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about that.
I started with a Amoeba blog. I used to write a lot of blog posts. Once I tried to write everyday basis, and it was the beginning of our school, how I started my business at the beginning. And gradually it goes to Mixi. And after that, Facebook came out. So now I'm I often use Facebook now. Recently people told me it's Instagram now if I want to attract mothers, like young mothers. So I'm learning Instagram now.
And so for some of our listeners who are not in Japan, can you explain Amoeba and Mixi?
Sure. Amoeba is maybe only in Japan, right? I think. It's a blog posting SNS. It's for, I think, Amoeba is easy for writing with a lot of emoji.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
How do you say in English? Emoji?
We say emoji.
Okay, so.
Yeah, it's come from Japanese. Yeah.
Right. So, many mothers using Amoeba blog. What else you said? Mixi is an old version of Facebook. And it was like 10 years ago, it was very popular in Japan. Everyone was using Mixi. So when you meet a new friend, you say like, what is your Mixi ID? So before Facebook. And now I'm not sure who is using Mixi anymore.
Yeah, I haven't gone. Actually, that's a good question. I was hoping you were going to say, oh, actually, I still use Mixi. But your experience is the same. We're not aware of people's...
I'm not using Mixi anymore. Like once a year or so. Sometimes I check it, but I don't see it's so active now.
It's gone the way of Bebo and MySpace and all these things. Is Bebo still? I'll have to research after the show. So tell me a little bit about your school. Tell me first, it's Sunny Bunny. Is that right? Is that the name of your school? Is there?
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. What's the URL of your school?
Sorry?
What's the URL? What's the link? Sunnybunny.com, is it? Or what's the internet address of your school?
Internet address is Sunny Bunny info.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Okay. Well, I'll put it in the show notes anyway, which is a good way for those of us. So, to see a little bit more. So, your school. When did you start your school? How did the idea of the school first come? Tell me a little bit about. Actually, you know what? We're kind of starting in the middle there. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? We don't have to go back to like Amoeba or anything, but Amoeba stage. But you know, a little bit about how you came to be an entrepreneur, how you started your school, and you know the motivation. Sure. Yeah.
Sure. I used to work for a company as an English teacher, and I just wanted to keep doing my job. I really loved my job, but I married and I had a baby. And I found it very difficult to keep working with a baby as a mother in Japan. But I really miss my job. So I started like Mother's English Circle. It's like mothers, one mother and a baby can pay only 500 yen or so to join the circle, so-called a circle, so English Circle for mothers and babies. And that's how I started my job. It was because like I missed English lessons, and also I didn't want to leave my daughter and I wanted to be with her. So yeah, I started with my friends. Yeah, that was the beginning, and it became somehow bigger and bigger. And 2014, I made it into a company officially, and now we have 2 schools in Tokyo, and 1 more is coming this year, right? Yeah.
And where are you based in Tokyo?
One is called Kagurazaka, and the other is in Akabane.
Okay.
And the third one is in Akasaka.
Okay. Wow. And tell me a little bit about your students. So Sunny Bunny, it sounds like a kid's. Basically.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
It's for 2 years to 12 years old kids. And basically we teach like twice a week, and one lesson takes like 50 minutes. And I'm very proud of my students because they speak English. They acquired very excellent English speaking skills. So even when the teacher leaves the classroom, they keep talking and chatting in English. I think it's very rare in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I never seen any other school like that, with that result.
So tell me the secret. Why does that happen? What have you in place to encourage that?
One reason is definitely because of my teacher. I met an excellent teacher when I was a university student, and he was trying to change Japanese educational system because he believed the way of teaching English is awful in Japan and it's not appropriate, and the teacher doesn't know enough knowledge, and teachers don't have enough techniques. So he was very angry with that. And really admired him and I studied with him. And unfortunately, he passed away. But even after that, I kept learning and studying and practicing based on his theory and what he taught. I think that's the main reason. So basically, I just followed the theories, just practiced that. So maybe people say I'm maybe strict to the teachers. So we train a lot and we practice a lot and we prepare a lot. So we put a lot of effort to have the lesson. So in the lesson, kids can feel like, they're just having fun and playing, but they're learning very effectively.
Okay. So for the benefit of those listeners outside Japan and for some inside Japan, what did your mentor, your teacher, and you, what did he think was wrong with Japanese education?
Many things, but first of all, curriculum itself and the lesson plan curriculum is wrong. It's not easy for them to learn. Maybe easy for teachers to teach, but not for students to learn. So I built up my original lesson curriculum based on many theories. I think if I try to describe what could be the secret, I say maybe more output from the student. And we really care about the quantity and also the quality of the output of the student. So after I teach the basic techniques and the basic method to my staff, after that I keep saying, I don't care what you do, but I care what your students say. So even if you look amazing, I don't really care. If the students doesn't speak excellent English, I don't think, you did an efficient lesson. So I just focus on what the students say and how they say and how was the structure of the sentence and how is the vocabulary, how the grammar, and how the contents, how they can communicate. So, yeah.
Okay, and about how many students do you have currently in your schools and classes, and what kind of hours do you run?
Okay, for kids, I think 120 recently. Yeah, we used to have like 160 or so, but after the COVID-19, we lost a lot and we gain again now. So, yeah, and also we have like about 100 teachers because we have a teacher training course. So I would say Sanibani has like 100 teachers as our student and also kids, 120 kids.
And tell me a little bit about COVID. So it's been difficult for a lot of schools around the world, of course. And, there's been a transition to online and should schools run a hybrid model? Should a little bit of it be online? Should they transition fully to online? Is it cannibalizing your own business in a way? So what's your experience? What's your opinion on that? It's a difficult question, I know, but...
Right. Last year, we were, I think, one of the first school who shut down completely. And we tried to build online program and we did it actually. So in March, we didn't provide most of the lesson. We shut down and we closed the school completely. And all the staff focused on building the online program. And that's what we did last year. So yeah, it was difficult, but now we have a face-to-face lesson program and also the online program. So we've been running from maybe May last year. So it's been more than, how long? Almost 10 months or 9. So we have good experience and now we are more confident with the online lessons. I don't think it will be better in this year or quickly, not next month. So I'm happy to have the online program right now. And also I've been always thinking, online lesson is a future and we needed to use more technology for the future. So I personally think it was a very difficult time for our company, but personally think it was a good opportunity for me to focus on building a new method and using more technology we didn't use. So I think we improved. Our company is stronger and improved because of the COVID-19. So now we are providing face-to-face lesson and also online lesson and hybrid lesson.
So that's really interesting. It tells me a little bit about you. So the COVID-19 situation came along. Your thinking on it now is that it was a really great opportunity. So, you had to switch, adopt new technology. You personally had to learn a lot of new things. And then you had to motivate and direct the staff. And then, of course, to deal with the parents and the kids as well. I mean, that must be difficult. How do you do that? Tell me a little bit.
I started with my staff. I was open, and because we had a big trouble at the time, so I just went very honest with them. I said, okay, it will be very risky, but we won't bankrupt in 6 months. But after 6 months, if we don't get online system and it won't go well, our company won't stand for 1 year. So, but I want to establish like online lesson and blah blah blah. What I think, and I asked what they think. So we had a big discussion together, and fortunately, we all agreed to go for the online lesson. So at the beginning, I got all staff and I told them that I rely on you and I really respect because it's risking for my staff's life. At the time, we had a very good discussion and they had a lot of ideas and we all agreed to go for that, take the risk. And it was one of the best memory for my entrepreneurship history. So I saw greatest teamwork at the time. So first of all, it was I succeeded to get a very good teamwork with my staff. That was the beginning. So after that, it was nothing could be that difficult because we had a very good team. So and we understood it will be difficult, and we are taking the risk, and it was so. In a way, it was very difficult. I didn't sleep much at the time. I was, basically like morning to the end, like wake up until I get really tired. I was in front of the PC and I was learning and I was building the programs. So it was crazy time, but also it was really enjoyable time with my sincere, very good staff. I was very proud of my team at the time, and it was kind of exciting as a CEO of a company. Sometimes it's difficult to feel such a teamwork as a boss and a teacher. So I'm normally asking teacher to do this and that, but at the time everyone know I'm also in a trouble, that I'm also in focus on we are in the same team and we do together and we stop everything else.
And it's really interesting that you brought up the COVID. Obviously, the people getting COVID, that's a worry, the worry about getting it, and having a school as well, and children, being passing it to parents and grandparents. And there's the worry also that if one student gets COVID and your school has a name for COVID, it's a plague on your house, as we say. It's the idiom is apt in this case. So you really stood up to the plate.
I bought, how do you call it? Running machine? That's right. Trampoline in my house. So I try to comfort myself and I try to be healthy. And I don't hate to, stay home normally. So it wasn't that difficult because I'm not that outgoing person. But when I was very stressful, I went to Hokkaido with my staff. It was like a telework with a team. So it was, how many staff? Like 3 or 4. I asked them if they want to come with me, and we rent a nice house and we had a barbecue with them and we kept working. So we brought our PC and, we kept working because we didn't have the face-to-face lesson at all at the time. So, I realized that we don't have to stay home, but, we can be somewhere else. We can move to somewhere else, stay inside and don't go anywhere. We didn't do any sightseeing or anything. And, we wear masks and we take temperatures. We don't, get any trouble, but we changed their place. And it was kind of very, amazing. And it was a very good memory for me too, again.
You can't really underestimate the power of nature in rejuvenating and unwinding, especially if you live in somewhere like Tokyo that's so constantly busy and noisy and there's so much concrete and it's hectic, isn't it? So even to get away to Chichibu or Karuizawa or Hanno or somewhere like that on the weekend, it really makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I really missed nature last year. Exactly. That's something I kept thinking, how much I missed the nature because I'm staying in the middle of Tokyo. So there's no nature. Even if, I walk in a park, I really love traveling around. So last year was, the year I couldn't go anywhere outside of Japan for a while. I think for 10 years, I've been traveling for somewhere every year. So last year, that was one really stressful thing for me. So like still now, I miss the nature. So that should be my next goal, like for this year. If this stays like this, I would love to find the way to move my location somehow to get more like nature and a relaxing time just for myself to cool down.
And how do you envision that working when you're there?
Yeah, that's one more thing that I've been thinking last year. I always wanted to be a person who can live abroad for 3 months or so. So like my dream is to live Switzerland for 3 months, Singapore 3 months, Guam 3 months, and Tokyo 3 months. Altogether 1 year, right?
So that sounds good.
Yeah, I've never done it before, but I've been always dreaming that. So last year I thought, if I can do this work online, then, I'm reaching to the goal. So this year I keep thinking about it. So if if I keep improving the way I work online, maybe my dream is coming closer and closer when the COVID-19 situation goes away, maybe next year or in 2-3 years. At the time, and when we are allowed to go anywhere safely, then maybe my dream is coming true. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about your staff. You mentioned you couldn't have done it. You have a great staff in place. How did that happen? How did you recruit them? How did you know what to recruit? What kind of person would fit into your organization?
Yeah, that was big problem and big concern for me. Like a few years ago, I was struggling to hire a good teacher. We had lack of teachers. I was struggling to hire new teachers at the time. So I realized how difficult it could be. So I changed my strategy. Whenever I find a good person, and whenever I feel like I want to work with her or him, I keep emailing or asking, even if she is working in other company. I sometimes say, I really want to work with you. So in case something happens, please keep in touch. That's what I did. I constantly doing that until now. So I keep looking, and I try to meet people. And whenever I see a very good teacher, and when I believe it's a good fit to my company, I do everything I could do. Last time, I even went to Hokkaido to hire one teacher because I really like her and I really wanted to work with her. And she told me that she's losing her job. So I thought, okay, it's a good opportunity. So I went to Hokkaido to convince her to work with me. She agreed, and now she's working, and I'm very happy with that result. So I think I keep doing this.
And of course, we mentioned Peter Lackner, of course, who's helped everybody in the past get some great stuff. Peter, who we interviewed last week, Peter at jobsinjapan.com. So just another mention there. So I want to talk to you about starting the company and risk, because a lot of people have this idea in Japan that the Japanese idea of risk is different maybe from other countries. People are a little bit more risk averse. I mean, for example, I'll give the anecdote of going to the post office, and they ask you for insurance to send your parcel, your package. And I don't want the insurance because maybe the package is not worth that much, but the insurance is 300 yen. And I think everybody must take insurance, because they ask me, okay, no insurance. And then they try to translate for me. So I must be the only person in the post office not want insurance. So tell me a little bit, is that true? The Japanese generally a little bit more risk averse than American?
Yeah. I really think so. I think people hate taking risks, and I think Japanese people normally they really like insurance. So yeah, that's one thing, and that was one difficulty for people to start up a company. For my case, none of my friend or family member agreed with me to start up a company. Only my husband agreed at the time, but no one else. And he's like, yeah, you can go, you can do whatever you want. So he was okay with that. But my friends tried to stop me, and my mother, my father, like everyone tried to stop me because it's a risk.
Oh, so your family tried to stop you. Tell me a little bit about trying to stop you. How does that happen? Lock the door. No.
Yeah, like I was kind of scared to talk to my mother, tell about it to my mother, because I knew she wouldn't like it. And but I told her, and at the time, my father never called my phone, but he called me, so I was kind of happy. Oh, my father called me. Wow, it's a new thing. And I picked up the phone, and he said, are you starting a company? And I said, yes. And he said, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. So that's why he called me. So that was the only call he made in my life, to stop starting a company. So it's very difficult. People see the risk. They try to be kind, thoughtful for me to stop my dream.
But you weren't discouraged.
Yeah, because by the time I already started the English circle, and I see my friends tried to stop me to start up by myself. I had some experience. So yeah, sometimes it hurts and it made me worry at the time. But, I got used to it. If I listen to the people as a Japanese woman and a Japanese mother and a wife, you cannot do anything you want. You have to be at home and you have to raise your kid and you have to clean and you have to cook, and everything else is kind of seems to be wrong. And I just couldn't be happy with that, and I really love my job and I really have my dream. So I knew I was not happy with that. So yeah.
But you did it anyway.
I did it anyway. That's why.
And you mentioned something I really wanted to talk to you about is entrepreneurship is one thing, but entrepreneurship for women entrepreneurs in Japan. What can you say about that?
I think it's a fun thing. I really believe more women should try to start up company or start up her own business, because I find it as a only way to do what I want with my daughter, especially with my daughter. When I was single, it wasn't that difficult to find a job or, go for my dream. But after I became a wife and a mother, people expected me to be at home raising kids, etc. Just a mother and a wife. So if you have a dream, that's maybe the only way and the best way to accomplish. But if you also, you may have a trouble, people may try to stop you if, someone tried to start up a business or something. So I think starting up a company cannot be the first idea. First, you have to have a dream or something you really truly love. Then, if you have an idea, if you have something you really love and you want to do as a job, then maybe starting up a company is the only choice to make it, successful in your own way.
Okay, some excellent advice there, and I hope some of our listeners will be inspired by this, and we'll also be posting this to the Facebook group and through social media as well. And are you, for example, when we post this to our Facebook group or SNS or LinkedIn, we may get some people commenting maybe for some advice. So will you be available to maybe get a little bit of advice in the comments?
Of course. Yeah. If I could be a help.
Sure. Yeah. We'd be delighted for that to happen. So we'll organize that. And we'll just move on a little bit about, okay. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you said passion or, motivation, because that's one thing entrepreneurs talk about. And there's one school of thought says you have to have your passion, you have to have a passion for education, you have to have a passion for your dream. And then some people are like, well, you don't really need to have a passion, you just have to have the idea. Do you think it's necessary for you? It seems you need to have passion. That's what works for you. But is it always necessary?
For teachers or?
For entrepreneurs. To have a passion about what you're doing, about the industry, about working for yourself, about, changing your circumstances, being in charge of your life in certain ways?
I think it depends, but I think so. I won't, if I work with someone else, like some other company, I would love to work with someone who with a passion. So when I print my textbooks, I ask a printing company, and if the one who is, doing that has a great passion for printing, I can tell he would make a very good job. So I think so. As an entrepreneur, I think you may have a lot of troubles too. And also, you have to be creative. To do so, I think it's always better to have some passion in yourself. That's what I think.
One thing we mentioned in Japan, maybe for women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general, is the culture is towards being a salaryman, have a pension position, but there's the other side in Japan as well about great workmanship, craftsmanship, and let's say a craft or a business being passed down through the generations, and the service and the detail that goes into the work. Do you think that seems very much what you're about as well, that you're very passionate about getting your business right? And can you talk a little bit about that, about your passion for excellence, maybe, if that's the way to put it?
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think I agree with you. I think Japanese people are good at caring details, making things tidy, and perfectionist. So when I hire Japanese people, I don't normally worry about the punctuality, or they can do precisely when I give an instruction. So I think it's a beautiful thing about Japanese culture. So for example, we care about how much time. So talking about the lesson, and sometimes I take time and I say it was like 1 minute late too long, or the students didn't talk for 30 seconds and it was too long. So if that's what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. You have your staff at the moment, mostly Japanese, foreign staff. What's kind of the breakdown?
It's a mixture, but half of them are Japanese, about 2 or 3 right now. But we have a mixture of nationality.
And did you find any difficulties in managing multinational staff, or?
Not really. I always care the personality and a good fit for my school. So I don't have a barrier to the nationality. So even for Japanese teacher, sometimes I don't see a good fit. Then, I wouldn't offer. But even so, we have Indian teachers and Brazilian teacher, British teacher. So I always care about the personality, what kind of person, and a good fit, and the teaching style is different, in each school. So we have our certain teaching style. So I know what kind of person or what kind of style will be a good fit.
So that's an excellent point. Some people worry, and it's in EFL lessons as well, about cross-cultural awareness, and a lot of Japanese companies worry about this, don't they? Integrating foreign staff, but your attitude is practical, isn't it? I mean, it's about the person, the right person, be they Japanese or not. They'll fit into the company or not.
Exactly, that's right. So we care about native speaker. I believe as an English school, it's always nice to have one native speaker to judge, if our English is natural enough or, appropriate or correct. But it's not all the teacher has to be native speakers. That's what I think. But we care about the teaching techniques and their personality and the style of lesson. So it's not really nationality. So sometimes we have more Japanese teachers and sometimes we have more native speakers. So I don't really have any limitation or anything for the nationality too much, but for the character of the person is something I always care.
Okay, and that's something I mentioned with Peter last week about hiring practices for schools and native teachers, non-native teachers, because it is kind of a talking point in English language teaching. So tell me, what's the most satisfying thing about owning your own business? What cheers you up? What keeps you going?
I think you have a dream, and sometimes if you run a company or if you start a business, your own dream actually came alive, came true. I witnessed that for several times. That's make me really satisfied. Even sometimes I really feel like crying because overwhelmed. And I love going to Singapore. I love the country, and I wish one day I want to come here with my student, and I want to come here as my job. And I didn't know how I could do that, but it took 5 years or so. I've been keep dreaming, and normally people think dreams are not something come true. Dreams are just dreams, you talk about. But my dreams, became true after I started my company and my business. Is the excellent way to make your dream come true.
So here's a big question coming up. Your dreams came true. How do you make your dreams come true? Because everybody has dreams, or everybody has an aspiration. It's part of being human, isn't it? But how many people convert those? How do you what kind of accountability? What kind of steps? How do you know how do you follow through?
Thank you. I think I realized that the people give up in 1 year or two, but I took 20 years to come here. So I wished to be an English teacher when I was 10 years old, and I still love being an English teacher and doing my job. So I regard my job as a life work. So I have a very big dream to change the Japanese English system, English educational system. So it's a huge dream. So I always think it's which is come faster, my last day of my life or the day my dream came true. So I take maybe longer time than anyone else, and I think I don't really give up, and I keep thinking, and whenever I do, whatever I do, I keep thinking about what I want to make it come true. So taking a bath or watching movies, I always seeking the breakthrough point. I think that's the way, and like crazy, I just keep thinking about it. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I keep saying that until it comes true.
Okay, and how do you where do you get your ideas from? What kind of books do you read? Who do you follow? Do you have any people you look up to or follow on social media or on TV? Some inspiration, role models?
Recently, I joined a group called HIU. It's by Mr. Takafumi Horie. He's known as Horiemon in Japan. I'm in his group, and sometimes he gave me some advices. That's one thing. I've been following what he does and how he thinks. And also, I love reading books. So it's Japanese again, but even when I go somewhere, I keep reading. This is Mr. Noboru Koyama. I never met him, but I read most of his books. So talking about running companies, I think maybe yeah, I can say like 10, 20 people I've been listening to, but maybe these two people are the one. And also, Mr. Kurokawa, he's a CEO of a Fubic. Maybe it's very famous company for called Dr. Stretch.
Oh,
It's like a stretching company. Yeah, he's kindly giving me some advices.
Oh,
And my company. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you have some mentors you work with.
That's right. So not we don't have any contract or anything, but they're just kindly give me advice time by time.
And have you been a mentor to somebody? Have you mentored somebody in business yourself?
Not really yet. Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, we would just talk a little bit about the practical aspects of opening a school and running a school. So how do you open a school? So you started off, you had a circle of mothers and kids, and then you said, okay, I can. You got the bug. You said, okay, I can open a school here. There's a business here to be. So what did you do next?
Okay, after that, so it was like my circle member came up with like 50 mothers and kids, so it became bigger and bigger. So I thought, okay, maybe I can rent a room, and I rent a room. And at the time, somehow a very big company, I'm prohibited to say that company because it's like a worldwide, very big company, and I had.
Please don't.
Like a NDA. So I cannot say the company, but they somehow contacted us and asked us for a lesson for their kids. And we accepted. At the time, that was maybe like turning point. They asked me to make as a company, like a register. So we were a very small group running by ourselves, but it happened to be like dealing with a very big company. So we needed to register everything. So it just happened to be a company. So that was a awkward beginning. So I didn't really plan to do the business by myself. I just wanted to be a mother, and I just wanted to be with my daughter. I love being with my daughter. So and also I wanted to teach. That was the beginning. I wanted to teach more efficiently and effectively. So I needed a room, and I needed another teacher to talk with. And it happened to be a company. One thing that happened, changed my mind was there was an earthquake in northeast part of Japan. At the time, people are scared of the radiation. That was a scary time. And I used to I had there like 8 staff at the time, and 6 of them went abroad to escape from Japan. And at the time, it was a very difficult time for me. And I was forced to decide to close the school or improve my company. I needed, because like my family members, friends, like everyone told me to stop Sanibani because I'm not making money and it doesn't make sense and it could be dangerous. So there were risks only. So people told me that I should stop doing my own business, but I should work for a supermarket or whatever. Just, go on ground and get some money. That's what people told me. And at the time, I wasn't really making money. I was providing good lessons, I believe. I did my best, but I wasn't making money at the time. I was just gathering little money and spend everything to teach. and learn. So, and I thought it was a good thing. So I was like a volunteer staff, but at the time I realized that was a big wake up call for me. I realized that if I don't make income and if I don't get the company running, I have to stop my dream. I cannot do my sunny wedding. So at the time I decided to study the business, and I think I became a businessman at the time. And I kind of decided to be an entrepreneur, and I decided to make my company strong and good and well known in this society and welcomed by society. And if I don't succeed, I have to stop. So yeah, that was a big change of my life.
Wow. So you want to start a company. A lot of people, most people tell you not to do it. You start the company. There's the Tohoku, the great Japan earthquake, and you're not making money. People then say, oh, we told you so. You should stop running this company. So you work through that. COVID comes along and you've got more challenges. So this is what an entrepreneur is about, isn't it? Being an entrepreneur is about coming through challenges. And
that's right.
Yeah. But it looks much better looking back than it does going forward in these situations. You can tell the war stories after. It sounds good, but but going through is not so pleasant. But you stuck with it.
That's right. I think that was the most difficult time maybe in my life. Like everything went bad, my private life and my business. It was like terrible time in my life. So last year, COVID-19, yes, it was difficult, but it was fun also. At the time, the earthquake time, it was just bad and sad and scary. And I had no one on my side, or no one is backing up with me. So I was alone. So last year I had a team. That was a big change.
So what you're saying is you went through this situation, you knew how bad things could be, you knew you could deal with them. You came into COVID and you're like, well, I can do it. You had that.
Yeah. It was difficult, of course. And, I depressed or I was tired, of course, But yeah, I could see a good point last year.
So there's a number of ideas about entrepreneurship. One was, it seems to be reappraised, rejigged in the past few years. There used to be an idea about positive mental attitude. You should visualize everything is okay. But then I think with Jim Collins, similar books like that, it's about facing reality and saying, okay, things are bad, but I can turn them around, not kind of fanciful, wishful thinking. What's your opinion on that? Are you more realistic, or do you like to think positively? Should one be an optimist to be an entrepreneur, or?
I try to be more realistic side. I think my personality is more optimistic person, and I don't. I forget bad things easily, so I don't stick with bad things. But as an entrepreneur, you cannot be so optimistic with, when you hire staff or when your staff say something or the parents came up, you have to be, calm in your mind sometimes. So even when something very good happens, I try to keep calm, because something good happened, that means something bad may be waiting next. And something bad happens, that means, you shouldn't panic, because it may be beginning of the good thing. So I try to be more realistic. Try not to, go or talk with my mood or my feeling too much. If it doesn't necessary for my work. So when I want to encourage someone, I say it sincerely, of course, from my heart. But like when I'm worried or when I'm, feel anger or something, it don't come up so often. But when it comes difficult feeling to me, I don't let it, control myself too much. So yeah, I think I try to be more realistic. Yeah.
I remember reading a quote, as not just entrepreneurs, as human beings, we're either in trouble, coming out of the trouble, or going into trouble. But that's not a very optimistic thing to think about. But I think it's quite similar to what you said. Is you're in a situation that it's within something bad is something good. Within something good is something bad. It's it's like yin-yo, isn't it? It's kind of like the yin-yo or the yin-yang. It's very similar. Yeah.
That's right. I have that kind of idea with me. Something good happens, then something bad happens. It will be kind of same for everyone. So
whether you're down or up, you're not going to be too excited or too dejected. You're just try to maintain a even keel.
That's what I try. I feel happy or I feel depressed, of course, but I try not to drive that, drive me for that up and down too much.
Okay. And so you mentioned you're opening a new school, and we talked about your dreams for changing Japanese education and always thinking about these things. So what's your short, medium, long-term plans for you and your business?
Okay. I believe our strength is the teaching technique to raise bilingual kids. So we say bilingual, it's not super fluent or native-like, but they can communicate in English and also, of course, Japanese in a very short time of learning. I want to show what we have more clearly to the society. So we make another school with another new name and another concept, which somehow guarantee the result of the speaking skill, English speaking skill. Sanibani is not well known that much. It seems like just a normal school and there's no difference from other schools. What I believe is that our school is unique and different because we have a unique techniques and we have a very good result of English speaking skill. So my first goal, short-term goal is to make that clear and hopefully get approved and people agree with that and more people realize our company's existence and hopefully expand more schools.
Okay, and hopefully this podcast will go some of the way to making your school more well known. So it's been a real pleasure to speak to you today. If people want to contact you or learn a little bit more about your company, work with you, or if they have kids they want to send to your school, what's the best way to get in touch?
I would say Facebook. Please type Ai Haori, my name.
That's Haori. Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Okay, and you have your school is on Facebook, obviously Instagram because we mentioned that earlier, and
right.
Twitter and
homepage.
Mixi. We won't bother about that one.
Not Mixi. I'm not checking.
Okay, so your school is Sunny Bunny on Facebook, so people can follow that there and
yes.
see what you do. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the EFL Magazine Business Podcast with Philip Pound. For more great advice and resources, check out eflmagazine.com. If you found this podcast helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. See you next time.